Hello everybody, welcome to today's vlog. So this weekend, because of the crap weather, we embarked on a bit of a shed tack room cleaning effort. And over the years I've collected quite a bit of broken tack and bridles and all sorts of good stuff. And so today I figured it would be a good day to do a how to put a bridle together, because I've got like 8 of them I want to kind of part together, mix and match some pieces. So yeah, I'm gonna do a quick little intro on that and a how-to, and then we'll put a bridle on him after I bribe him with lots of cookies, because he got really cold and wet today, so feel a little bit better. So have fun with the how-to demo in terms of putting together an English bridle. And okay, so we're gonna start with the crown, or the crown, oh fuck, I forget, what do they call it? The crown, they do call it the crown piece. Okay, done this too long. So this is the crown piece. So this is what goes on their head. So the crown piece has attachments for the throat latch, which is here, and then the 2 cheek pieces, which are what connect to the bit. So you have the full connection for the throat latch, which goes under their throat, and then the 2 pieces that you connect the cheek pieces, which ultimately connect the bit. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to get the brow band in. So this is a dressage saddle, which is why it's white, or a dressage bridle, which is why it's white. And there is a correct way and a wrong way. So if there's a swoop down on the brow band, the down part goes towards the ground. So this way, I think, because I'm looking upside down. So you want to do this first because you have to get the brow band over the cheek pieces. So if you do the bit first, you won't be able to get it over. I can't. Okay, we're gonna do that. Okay, so got everything laid out. So the swoopy part of the brow band, I don't know, I can't tell, it looks the same. Goes like this. So some of you won't be able to tell. So the brow band just slips on over the cheek piece and the throat latch pieces. And you absolutely have to do this first or you won't be able to get it back on. So there. So now you have the crown or the headpiece with the throat latch with the brow band. The next thing you do is you bring the nose band in, and the nose band has this big leather piece that goes under the crown of the headpiece. So you'll take that and thread it all the way on the bottom. This needs to go on the bottom of the crown of the headpiece, not on top, on the bottom. So between the horse and the headpiece. And then you try to get it even. And then you connect the part that you just threaded through the crown to the other side of the nose band. So this is just a standard nose band. This is not a drop nose band. And I took the flash option off. I don't ride with a flash. So now you have almost everything. You just need the bit. So the next part, this is for a very big horse, by the way. So the next part are I'm gonna flop this out of the frame just because it's easier to see. So the next part is the cheek pieces. So you have two. When you're doing the cheek pieces, you want the metal and the clasp on the inside, so facing the horse. So if you just lay those out first, you'll do it right. The other thing too is you don't, when you're attaching this, if you have a bridle that has the same size cheek piece and throat latch, usually the throat latch is a little thinner, but if you have a bridle that doesn't, you just want to make sure that you're grabbing the right attachment. So cheek piece is the short one. So we're going to put this all the way up because I know my horse's head is not that big. So when I go to put a bridle on, I always err on the side of a little bit too big instead of trying to put the bridle on and then have it be really difficult to get on. So then we're going to go to the horse's right side. We're going to attach the cheek piece. And we'll go all the way up, so making everything the same and even. Putting everything in its keepers, making it nice and neat and tidy. So, there. Now we have the nose band, which seemed excessively large for this bridle. We've got the nose band on the inside of everything else. And then we've got the brow band right here and the cheek pieces for the bit. So you always want the nose band parts to stay inside. And then we are going to grab our bit. So we're going to flop the nose band part back. And then you're going to attach your bit. This little metal thing is just a little hook that goes inside. It's a special bridle attachment. And it just goes inside the slit, and then you pull it into place. And they hold pretty well, but if your bridle's going to break, it's usually that thing. So you can get cheek piece replacements. And then do the same on the other side. Tuck all your keepers in. So this is just a snaffle bridle. This is a snaffle-ish bit with a lozenge. And I know this is the way it goes because it clamps all the way down. And these bits that sit on the bars are rounded. So you can tell if I flip it the other way, it kind of just doesn't look right. So everything's kind of pointing in. So there we go. So when you're attaching the reins, most reins come undone at the top. So an easy way to shorten a rein that's too long is by poking new holes in it at the end, if you don't want to buy new ones. And then I run them through my fingers like that to make sure that there's no twists, although that's a rather easy thing to fix. So these are stoppers right here. Not all reins have them. They're if you're using a running martingale. But the reins always go on the bottom of the bit. So if the bit was sitting in the horse's mouth, the rein would go on the bottom of the cheek piece. And I do find this a little easier standing up. So maybe we'll try that one day. Does this look retarded? No? Okay. And then do the same, put the rein on the bottom of the cheek piece. And there you go. So now you have your bridle. Welcome back. So that bridle that I put together, that was a dressage bridle. Once again. And so this is a bit of a Frankenstein bridle. So I had bought a couple of crap bridles off of Amazon. Somebody had recommended it, and they worked for a little bit, and then all the parts broke. So this bridle is very different from the one that I put together. So I had said that the crown piece should always go on the bottom, but on Frankenstein bridle you can see that the crown piece, actually there's a slot here, and the nose band goes right through it. So the nose band is still on the inside of the bridle. So here's the cheek piece that holds the bit, and then here's the nose band. This is not the nose band for this bridle, so that's a difference on this bridle. The other thing I don't like about this bridle is the adjustability, or lack thereof, with the brow band. So it gets really thick up there, so you can't really adjust the brow band much either. So the brow band is where it is. This nose band came off of a dressage bridle, and I hate it because it's so thick, and it's just like bulky, and I admittedly ride in hackamores most of the time anyway. The other difference with this bridle is when I went to go put the bit on, I noticed, so he's really young and green, and I do like a full cheek on him. He doesn't ride well in the hackamore. I think they're too heavy on his face, and he just doesn't like them. But these reins have a different type of connection, and they need to be on the outside. So if you have reins that have this versus that little knob where you like hook the leather around it, these go facing out on the bridle. The other thing I think I forgot to say when I was talking about putting together the bridle is that the reins always go on the bottom. So you want to do that cheek piece first. Hey. And then he's like finding the most silly things to play with. So you want to put that cheek piece on first, and then when you go to put the reins on, it's easier if you hold it up. Hey, come back here. And then you put the reins below the cheek piece. So you isolate what that looks like. Cheek piece. This is harder outside. So cheek piece, reins on the bottom. Woo. My model is evacuating. Can you hang out, please? Huh? I'm running low on cookies. You can smell the fear. Yes, mommy freaks out when she doesn't have cookies to bribe you with. That's not totally true. Anyway, so we're gonna put this on him. So when I go to put a bridle on a horse, you want to make sure the nose band is undone. I know a lot of Western people, if they put an English bridle on, they never undo the nose band, and I don't get that. Even if it's loose, you always want to make sure your nose band, this part, is undone. Makes putting the bridle on much easier. It's one less thing to thread their head through, and also if you can get their nose through it, it's like not functioning, and just take it off anyway. Most nose bands also, the connection piece is on the horse's right. This one's a little different, it loops through, but I feel like those are pretty, I feel like you can figure that one out. So I'm gonna go to put the bridle on my horse. He is green. I try to get them, I try to take a peek at like how it'll fit the horse before I put it on, and I try to err on the size of it being a little bit bigger. So this one's gonna be too big for him. I'm probably not even gonna be able to adjust this bridle to fit his face, but the whole point of today is for me to go through all of my tack and fix my tack ring situation and get rid of some of the pieces that just can't work. Probably gonna end up with like 18 Frankenstein bridles. So he is green and he is a little wiggly and the weather is just crap and I switched their paddocks. So he might not cooperate as well, but we'll give him cookies. So I always put the bridle, like the bit, inside and warm the bit up if I'm going to ride him in the winter with the bit. So I've got my nose band undone. I've guesstimated how this is going to fit on him. I can go up actually. Hi, I love you too. He's like, I really love your cookies. I have estimated how much I need to go up on these cheek pieces with the bit. And so I think I'm going to go up 2 on both sides for starters. He's got actually, for a warm blood, like he's got a pretty small head. It might not look like it because it looks like it's the size of my entire upper body, but it's not that big. It just isn't. So, okay. He's losing interest in me now. So, I know a lot of people train their horses to do the up and over thing, but I'll be real honest, if you're riding a 17-hand thoroughbred or warm blood, that's really hard to do physically. Yeah, you can train them to put their head down, but like, they're still tall on their horses and they move. So, I've got my bridle ready. The nose band is open and the bit is ready to just go in his mouth. And so I'm going to take my right hand and I'm going to hold the bridle in the middle. And so I'll hold up that nose band and then I'll guide the bit into his mouth with my left hand. So I use my thumb to just convince him to open his mouth. And then with my right hand I grab the top of the crown of the bridle, and this is too tight. Okay, so we're gonna put this really, really low on one side, and then when I get it in his mouth with a cookie. Okay, I'm very sorry. Yes, I am. But you're being a very good boy. Don't chew his cookie. Come here, itchy butt. Alright, so I promise this one's gonna work. There you go, boy. Holy cow. So, I do usually ride him in a loose ring. This bit, oh, I'm sorry, pal. This is why you want your bridle to fit a little bit better before you put it on. So now we are all the way at the end on both. And there's a few things going on here. One, so I really don't. Can you come on? There you go. Good boy, Hope. So a few things I don't like. Come on, here. Let's try to do this. So, right there, the leather sits, it's just tight. Like, that brow band and the headpiece or the crown are just really tight around his ear. I don't like that. To fix it, and you'd get an anatomical bridle that would have a little bit more ear space, or you can get rid of, hey, come on, bud, good boy, back up. So you can get something that, like, you could just take this off altogether, which is probably why none of my bridles have brow bands or nose bands. The other thing I don't like is it sitting on this bone right here, so like that's really uncomfortable for him, and I don't like that. So getting rid of that brow band might help. He is all the way at the bottom with this. So I guess this is Come here, big guy. A little bit tighter than I thought. Might have, I don't know, do they shrink? So in terms of bit fit, I'm actually okay with where that's sitting. It looks a little low, and I know everybody does that like whole three wrinkle thing, and he doesn't have that. But I actually really do think that this sits, oops, I think it sits well in his mouth where it is. Let's see. Oh boy. All right, so at this point, once you get your bridle fit and you adjust it, you tack in all of the keepers. So even if you've just got like a little nub sticking out, you want to try to get that second one in there. It's tidy, it looks better. I also typically only use bridles with, or bits with a lozenge or double jointed when I do use a bit, which is increasingly less frequent. You try to run away though sometimes. So, and then with, back up. Oh, bubble. Alright, so the fog is getting to us, but, so I gotta hurry. So I'll put this nose band on. So that's this part, the nose band. And I don't like this one. Don't like the way it fits his nose. It has this like weird loop around thing. I also don't like that because somebody who is not aware of how tight a nose band should or should not be. So the FEI rules are 2 fingers. You should be able to put 2 fingers in between here, I believe. And they have like a little device that they slide through their nose. But if that's the case, that's great. But I also know that most people don't do that, and they like to ratchet their nose bands down. By having this like pulley piece and that extra loop, what it does is it gives you a mechanical advantage to tighten that too tight or even harder than if you were just using like a normal hook. So I don't like these for that reason as well. Anyway, it's just big, thick, and clunky, and it's just more stuff on their face that's there. So it actually, this is sitting in the right spot, so, or close to. You should have 2 fingers in between the nose band and this bone right here. So it might be a little bit high, but it really, I don't think it's horrible. So we'll tuck all that in, get our keepers in place. So this is also too long. I would trim this if I wasn't using it on a bigger horse. And then the last thing I do is the throat latch. And this, I always do throat latches really loose. They're to keep the bridle on, like if you're out hunting, or I don't know, I'd argue an eventer might need it a little bit more. This is good for me if you're in the hunter ring, unless you fall off and rip your horse's bridle off, which it does happen. You know, you're not going to need it. So then you pull their forelock out. You don't have much forelock, do you? And there you go. Double check your reins. One thing with reins and cheek piece connectors that connect to the bit, it's kind of a thing to have like metal hooks that kind of just hook on, or like snap hooks, metal snap hooks for the reins. I don't like those. There's no friction to them, and they slide a lot on the bit, on the metal bit, and I think that affects the connection. So 10 out of 10 don't recommend. But you could also just make life a whole lot easier and put a hackamore on your bridle. So I try to go careful around their ears. Good boy. And then I try to not scrape the bit on their teeth as they let the bridle go. Hi. And then we can go home. But that is how to put a bridle together and how to put a bridle on a horse, an English bridle. There's many types of bridles and bits and combinations, but this is a snaffle bridle with a full cheek snaffle on it, and I think that's a pretty good beginner spot to start for learning how to tack up your horse. So like and subscribe. Thanks.